the murder of George Floyd and the corresponding protests that we have seen, the interest in reforming policing, and really a time of racial reckoning in our country. How do you feel that this issue around this military equipment for police fits into the picture that we're talking about with police reform and Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, I think the death of George Floyd, which was captured on video, and millions of people have watched that 8 minutes and 46 seconds of pain and death that accrued to my friend George Floyd, and we saw the style of policing that is taking place in urban areas, or basically in areas where Black folks live in America. It's a culture of policing that is more of a warrior gladiator style of policing rather than a protector, protect and serve model. And so the death of George Floyd crystallized in the minds of the people the very real fact that policing is different in areas where Black and brown people live, and that this difference causes the deaths at the hands of police officers of just a continuing parade of innocent, unarmed Black people, Black and brown people. And people now see that that is the reality, and they want it to change. And so the militarization of police forces across the country is in keeping with that warrior gladiator style of policing. And so along with that style of policing, so needs to go the weapons of war that are deployed by these police departments. And the Defense Authorization Act 1033 program and its successors require that these law enforcement agencies actually place into service the equipment that they get from the federal government within 1 year of the date of their receipt of it, or else they have to turn it back in. So law enforcement agencies are itching for the opportunity to use this equipment. And so it ends up being used for purposes for which it's not intended. And it operates against the people that the police are employed to protect and serve. So getting rid of this 1033 program insofar as it allows for the transfer of military grade weaponry to state and local law enforcement agencies as well as federal agencies will go a long way towards removing this kind of equipment from the streets.
Yes, as we're in a period where I hope we're going to reimagine what policing looks like and really do an evaluation of when armed responses are needed. I think that the work that you have been doing around this is so critical, because it is just putting up another barrier. And as you said, continuing this warrior mentality instead of one of guardian and community leaders. And I hope that this will go a long way to reestablishing community trust. I don't know if we can really rebuild that as long as there are tanks rolling down the small town streets of Georgia and other places in this country. What do you feel? Are you optimistic about ending this program? Do you think that this is the time where we can do it?
Just within 3 weeks from the death of George Floyd, the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act was the House Democrats' response to the death of George Floyd. And so I appreciate your leadership in enabling the Stop Militarizing Law Enforcement Act to be folded into the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. And that act passed and even had bipartisan support. But unfortunately, now the bill sits in the cemetery of Mitch McConnell, the Grim Reaper, where
Yes,
so much of our other legislation,
described.
you know, I mean, so much is at stake as we move forward towards November 3rd, and hopefully we can strengthen our caucus in the House and create a situation where we have a Senate that shares our values and also a president that shares our values. And then we'll be able to get so much legislation passed, such as the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act.